an emphasis on cheap removal, mana fixing, and then the expensive bombs. At a certain point, all these decks sort of blur together, but Andrew was able to stay on target here and is very happy with, the rare dragons, the synergies that he has, and some cheap removal to put it all together.
All right, here we go. Game 1 is underway. Andrew Baeckstrom, 2 lands in play, 2 for Christian Valenti, and in fact an Abzan devotee here to kick things off.
Christian Valenti, another player that I'm familiar with from 15, 20 years ago, originally from Tennessee, now lives in Las Vegas. Andrew Baeckstrom, originally from the Philadelphia area in southwestern New Jersey, now lives in Denver, maybe 15 minutes from the convention center.
Nice. So hometown tournament here for Andrew Baeckstrom. Sibsig Appraiser was the play there. This turn took a land off the top of the library, putting Bewildering Blizzard into the yard. Gosh, he just always has all the appraisers at the table. You can never get one. Andrew just takes them.
Well, it's such an important bridge for this sort of strategy. The selection matters a lot, of course, but, this sort of deck is liable to, get run over maybe a little bit while they're trying to fix their mana and accrue cards. So even just having something that can trade off early, a chump blocker in the mid-game, kind of does a little bit of everything that you want.
Clarion Conqueror was a play there for Valenti, the 3/3 flyer that shuts off. Notably, I'm not sure if Andrew Baeckstrom has any Dragonstorm globes in his deck, but it would shut that off.
I do not believe so, going through his deck list. Can't say for sure.
Very sad tale. 2/2 flyer there for BK. If you flurry, you make a 1/1 bird, an excellent card.
Andrew's key mana fixing here is the encroaching Dragonstorm. And watching his top 8 match, he was certainly able to go from 4 to 6 to 7, pick it back up, play it again, and had so many expensive cards that it really wasn't on diminishing returns how you see with that card some of the time. He was able to be using all of his mana very effectively, even when he got up to double digits amount of mana.
Ooh, nice. All right, we've got some pack beasts here. We can draw a card once that hits the table. And we're going to swing on in with the Clarion Conqueror and the 2/1. Sibsig Appraiser, happy to block the Abzan devotee here. Take 3 down to 17 for Baeckstrom.
And, you would ideally not be killing something that can recur itself like the devotee, but if Andrew's game plan is executed the right way, by the time that creature comes back, it should be trivial compared to what Andrew's up to.
Back over to Baeckstrom here. Dragon's Prey is going to make short work of the Salt Road Pack Beast. Ooh, and we're going to tap down that, we're going to shut down that Clarion Conqueror here with a fresh start. And here's our bird being now played by a monk creature token.
Yep. Got a little flurry trigger there. Not something that is really a primary part of Andrew's deck, but sometimes you're here. Worth noting here, Andrew hasn't played any of his dual lands, is missing red mana, so hand still has a little bit of work. He's doing fine. He's keeping his head above water. High life total, battlefield's clear, but this is probably not exactly the start that Andrew would want.
And here's the red mana we find now for Christian Valenti there with the tapped land. And ooh, one of my favorite cards of the set here, Dulkovan Pack Beast, so unassuming. It's an 0/4 when you attack, mobilize 3. In comes the bird for a single point of damage, 18, Christian. No other play for Andrew. I love this little card so much because it's just like, I'm an 0/4. I can attack all day. You probably can't kill it when you block.
Attacking with 0/4s is so sweet. Because sometimes people block, assuming that it's 0.
Yeah.
But you got a trick. Or you don't sometimes.
Do you ever, was there a card printed called Noble Ox, like in an unset or something?
That sounds like a card that could have been in an unset or also not in an unset. Isn't there a 2/4 vanilla called Noble Ox? I don't know. It's late. I don't remember all the oxen.
Come on, quiz. Name every ox in Magic. Everyone.
I'm trying to think of when the first ox was
Oh,
printed.
Noble Ox. It was a mystery booster card. Yeah, 2/4.
What's a mystery booster?
Well.
Oh, that's Gavin Verhey's
Gavin's
proxies?
thing, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They wanted to call the set Gavin Verhey's proxies, but they couldn't for whatever reason.
It's a licensing thing, then you got to cut him in on it.
Yeah, that's true. Ox attack. 3 tokens came in attacking. Follow-up play, Hardened Tactician. Great with a mobilized deck. We're going to sacrifice a token to draw a card. Just beautiful. Loved it so much, we're going to do it again. They're going to die anyway. I remember somebody played that against me at the pre-release, and I was like, that just costs 1 mana?
Mm-hmm.
Seems wrong.
A steal at twice the price.
No red mana yet for Baeckstrom's just going to continue attacking with that bird. Christian Valenti down to 17, 15 for Andrew Baeckstrom. Looks like these mana woes are causing him some pain here.
And Andrew does have a lot of sources of red mana. He's got the Encroaching Dragonstorm. He has multiple copies of Rugged Highland, so this is just kind of an unfortunate consequence. Your opening hands are often going to be missing some color. It's rare to have everything kind of rolled up. So you are pricing at keeping some hands, just assuming you're going to find red mana. And, you know, Andrew has a lot of turns to do that as well, but sometimes it breaks this way. And, you know, Andrew's just kind of spitting tires with a bunch of uncastables in hand. And Christian has developed enough of a board at this point and is drawing so many cards that even if Andrew finds red mana next turn, it's going to be hard to catch all the way up.
Yeah, this turn is disgusting. War effort here from Christian Valenti is going to pump up all of those tokens and add another one to the board on top of it. So Andrew Baeckstrom's going to fall all the way to 4. And we're going to draw. War effort has been just so incredibly impressive on camera this weekend. Back over to Baeckstrom. Can we find something to save the day?
I do love an Orcish Oriflame. It was one of the first cards that I was like, I'm putting 4 copies. This is quite a bit better.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to draw, and we are going to scoop them up. Game 1 goes to Christian Valenti over Andrew Baeckstrom, who's got to look at the top of the deck.
I don't know why.
It wasn't there.
What are you going to, well, you know, we're...
I'm Team Never Look, by the way. What can you gain? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's late. Sometimes you're just getting into some behavior you otherwise wouldn't indulge at this hour.
That's fair. Let's take a look at an upcoming event, everyone. Mark your calendars. Check this out. Spotlight Series Planetary Rotation happening at SCG-Con Orlando August 29th through the 31st. It is standard, so if that's your jam, you're going to want to go to this. I mean, I'm very, very excited for this set coming out later this year, so it could be a very sweet event.
Are you a sci-fi enthusiast?
I am, in fact. Thank you. Yes. What gave it away?
Your excitement for this set. that was one.
I think it might have been earlier when I was telling you how much I love Star Trek, and you didn't even ask.
I like Star Trek too.
Do you have a favorite?
Next Generation.
Okay, classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it having certainly a certain political arc without being explicitly political is a pretty impressive needle to thread, especially during that era.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Voyager girly myself. Janeway for life. Hashtag. Get it trending.
Also, I think the Borg are pretty dope as far as the big villain goes.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, a lot of big villains end up just being the Borg in one way or another.
Yeah. It's also it's a show that's aged well from my perspective, because you can kind of have a different lens for some of the characters as you get older.
Yeah.
Like Riker and Picard when I was a kid, I was like, oh, these people are just like so dope, so smart, you know, worldly, thoughtful.
Yep.
And I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, working with this person seems horrible. so condescending.
Yeah. It's okay, a holier than thou boss.
Claims expertise in fields they know nothing about.
Update for you from our other semifinal match. Josh Morton is currently up a game over Jody Keith.
Jody is also playing actually a deck quite similar to Andrew's. It's 4-color Sultai with a splash of red, a lot of powerful cards. So similar strategy to what Andrew's doing over here. Got to wonder if they were kind of trying to bite off some of the same cards from one another.
Yeah. But Andrew had such success with that archetype, drafted it in all 3 drafts today. Trying to do the 5-color good stuff decks. His last deck, by the way, from draft 2, if you all didn't see it, it was on camera. in our last match of the second draft, and it was, I think, possibly the best draft deck that will ever happen in Tarkir Dragonstorm. No cap. Here we go. Game number 2. Christian Valenti up a game here over Andrew Baeckstrom in our semifinals. All the players in our top 8 are making the Pro Tour Final Fantasy, but of course still a lot of money and pride to play for here in the semis. Embermouth Sentinel to play here for Baeckstrom's going to go get an island. All right, our mana's looking a lot better this time around.
A little bit of a sign of missing black mana here if Andrew opened up on a red-green duel followed by a forest. Also might just be slow playing a little bit, but certainly off to a better start than we saw in game 1.
All right, Wingblade Disciple hits the table here for Baeckstrom. This card good even outside the Jeskai wedge.
Well, you know, I talked to Andrew in between rounds here, and, you know, when his draft was being featured, there were some comments about, you know, his curve not being great, and basically his feeling is you want the cheap removal, you want the expensive bombs. The stuff in the middle, some of it's better than others, but it really doesn't matter that much, as long as you just have stuff to play and try to block.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Great to get some insight here about that. Shock Brigade is going to swing into the red zone here and bringing a warrior token along with it. Oof, and those blocks from Andrew did not turn out the way that he wanted.
Yeah, it's a tough spot there because Christian's attack on the surface doesn't signal a combat trip. He has a 1-power menace creature, and Andrew would have to block with a 2/1, so it makes sense for Andrew to do that regardless.
Sure. Molten Exhale here takes care of Christian's creature, so the board is clear. Tabula rasa, back over to Christian Valenti. Clarion Conqueror back on the field. All right, so we're going to fix our mana even more here. Let's go find a basic. Roamer's Routine, Andrew Baeckstrom. There is the swamp. There you were, buddy.
So Andrew not off to a smooth start, but still at 20, and now with a pretty good colored mana situation.
Yes. Hopefully we can start to get things rolling next turn if we are Baeckstrom fans. Christian Valenti goes to combat, swings in with the 3/3, knocks Baeckstrom down to 17. 5 mana follow-up. Salt Road Pack Beasts, draw a card. All right, here we go. What do we got? Breaching Dragonstorm. Let's see what we hit. Oh! Now that's a hit. That's a Meringue River region here. Only one of the best rares in the set.
And also pick up your Breaching Dragonstorm.
Yep. And return both those creatures to your hand, Christian Valenti. Wow, that was sick.
I mean, this is really the core of the strategy here. Is just as long as you can keep your head above water early on and fix your mana, your opponent's not going to be able to go blow for blow with you. The cards you're playing, they're too powerful, too much card advantage. Your opponent won't have enough removal for everything. And so even though Andrew's was off to sort of a clunky start, was missing colors, now things are really rolling.
Yeah, I had a question about the region too. I'm like, is it a cast trigger? When this creature enters trigger, bounce. 2 target non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Can be your things, by the way. Mm-hmm. We're just going to play back out the Clarion Conqueror. But it's going to fall here to a Caustic Exhale. The 2/1 Abzan Devotee remains in play there for Christian. Okay, we'll play that Dragonstorm back out. Dragon's Prey. Oh, kind of sad, actually.
Well, no, you can put it in your hand.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. Not sad. Actually, great.
Yep.
I retract it.
There are no misses, only degrees of hits.
River Regent hits the skies and hits the battlefield here. 15 down to Christian Valenti here after that attack. We heard some of the drafting strategy of Andrew Baeckstrom a little bit earlier, which is essentially you want to take lands very, very highly, removal, and bombs.
I think that part of the philosophy here is once you are conceding that you're going to be 3 colors, it's hard to beat down reliably. There's too much inconsistency baked in to your colored mana situation, having a lot of lands that enter the battlefield tapped. So if you are going to assume that not that many people are going to be beating down, and the people who are beating down their decks are probably not going to be as strong on average, the point of emphasis becomes how do you have an edge against similar decks, 3-color or 4-color,
Right.
Good stuff decks, and it's by playing as far over the top as possible.
Abzan Devotee getting in here for a little bit of damage. That's a Scavenger Regent there from Christian Valenti.
And normally this is a spectacular card, but against Andrew's deck, it's pretty innocuous, right? Like, it's unlikely Christian sets up some sort of spot where he's able to use the Omen part of it, and Andrew can also easily outclass a 4/4 flyer because he's generating so much card advantage. If he wants to use a removal spell, paying the ward isn't that big of a tax. So it's a way of sort of, this strategy has a habit of dampening the value of some of your opponent's best cards.
Channel Dragonfire was the play there. Went to Baeckstrom's face, 13. Has a harmonized cost of 5 red.
Now, that could be some signal that there's another red card in Christian's hand, because he's stuck on the 1 mana right now. It's reasonable to assume that Channel Dragonfire is not going to be very good against Baeckstrom, generally speaking. And so Christian might just be using the spot to spend the red mana on anything to free up a more valuable red card the following turn.
Meringue River Region gets in again, knocking Valenti to 9. Karakit Guardian as a follow-up play. Another giant dragon, allowing Andrew to return that Breaching Dragonstorm back to his hand. Everything's coming up Baeckstrom here in Game 2.
And you might notice that Andrew's body language from the Game 1
Yes.
not have colors and don't do anything and die, and Game 2 where he's really doing his thing, it has not changed, and you might wonder why that is. And again, talking to Andrew in between rounds, he said, after about 4 rounds, I was like, I'm good here, Like, I kind of know what the strategy is, and now it's just an issue of seeing if I'm able to pull it off or not. But I'm not going to see anything new at this point. I know what it is.
This is all old hat to me here.
Clock in at 9, clock out at 5.
We're going to discard and draw here for Valenti as we dig for potential answers to whatever Andrew's got going on here. Both of the creatures, huge problems currently. All right, we got a 3/3. This is a Venerated Storm Singer. It does have Mobilize 1. And it has a little taxes thing on it, or what am I trying to say? Whenever this creature or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses life, you gain a life, blah, blah, blah. He's going to scoop him up.
Yeah.
That's Andrew Baeckstrom tying things up at 1 game apiece here in our semis. An update on our back table as well. Josh Morton and Jody Keith have now tied things up at 1 game apiece. If you've been watching this all weekend long, we want to thank you so much for joining us here for Spotlight Dragons. Maybe you've got an itch to get some cards. Hey, guess what? There's a sale going on. StarCityGames.com, 10% off all promotional singles. But you got to be quick because this sale ends Monday.
Yeah, and promotional can mean a lot of different things. We're talking about cards from Secret Layers. We're talking about old APAC and Euroland. So no matter what your vintage or preference as a Magic player is, there's got to be something on there that you're interested in. But that sale does end on Monday, which is coming up soon. So if you want to take advantage of this sale, StarCityGames.com while supplies last.
Are you talking any Secret Lair cards I can go get through this? Somebody let me know, because I need to get some more of the oh my gosh, my brain is so fried. I'm trying to think of the word.
Well, I'll tell you what. It would not be the first time that Star City Games has been priced into expanding the range of a sale based on what I've said during the promo. So if it's not there now, but you believe a good faith interpretation that it should be,
okay,
now we're here.
All right, great. So I've got to manifest it.
Yeah.
I want the lands that are like, you know, the ones where it's your birthday and it's your star sign. The astrology lands. The astrology land drop we got there.
Oh, I've never even heard of these.
Oh man, they're awesome. They look so wild, and I use them for draft. And so, slowly but surely, I don't know where they end up. So I've lost a lot of them, and I need to rebuy. I bought the whole set for my birthday a couple of years ago. So that's what I'm looking for. Let me know if it's there, chat. Opening hands drawn here for game number 3, the deciding game in this match here in the semifinals between Andrew Baeckstrom and Christian Valenti. Who will be one of our finalists? Both sweet decks.
We're cruising along here, too.
We are.
Game 3 over here. Game 3 in the backup. I asked Andrew, when this is all done, you want to go grab a bite with me, head to the 24-hour diner.
Yeah.
He sounded into that. So
all right. Well, let's wrap it up here, Baeckstrom.
I hope we can do that, because I know the unfortunate thing is that if he loses here, I know the tires will be squealing leaving the convention center.
It's going to leave the black marks that start on fire?
Yeah, exactly. To just try to get back to bed as soon as possible here.
Both players going down to 6. Yeah, these limited tournaments go quite a fair bit longer than a constructed tournament does. So we're here in the convention hall, as I said, when they're tearing down everything around us.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
At any tournament, any large tournament, you move at the pace of the slowest person. That's just how the rounds work.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to be done before you can repair. And in a constructed event, the pace of the slowest person is at least someone who typically knows what their cards do.
Sure.
In a limited event, the pace of the slowest person is someone who is reading everything and possibly using core set mechanics in a way that is illegal. So they can take a little bit longer to get to the end. But once we get towards quarterfinals and beyond, usually things have a habit of speeding up.
All right, here's our second hands drawn here for game 3. Let's see if we get some better 6s. Mulligan decisions here, of course, very tight and tough in a set when you've got lots of colors running around. Both players like their 6, so here we go. Game 3, the deciding game here between Andrew Baeckstrom and Christian Valenti. Andrew Baeckstrom at 21.
And with both players on 6, even something like this, Andrew's, mentally updating his odds of winning up a little bit. Opponent did not start on a dual land. It's a little bit more likely that he's going to be stumbling out of the gate. Andrew starting with a dual land. Already a good step 1. Turn 2 from Christian, no pressure on the battlefield. So this is kind of, I know we've barely gotten off the ground here, but Andrew's got to be pretty happy with how this game has opened up.
Sultai Devotee is going to be the play here for BK. We had some hand shaping done with Storm Shriek Feral from Christian Valenti last turn, discarding that reigning victor. All of this is information, of course, for Andrew. Third land, Man of the Hard Way here for Christian Valenti. Dulkovan Pack Beasts is the play.
Yeah, not great in this spot. Death Touch is about as best possible keyword you can have here.
All right, Blossom Regent here. Blossom Vine Regent for Andrew Baeckstrom. He's going to go get some lands.
Yeah, 1 forest. They have to be forests. 1 to the battlefield and 1 to hand.
Wait, Bloom Vine Regent. I was right the third time.
If it's any consolation, neither me nor anyone watching this knows.
Not sure the players know.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. It's a cultivate. Andrew played cultivate.
Okay, great.
The dragon's back in his deck. Don't worry about it.
That's a sweet card.
Yeah, I saw Andrew get that one off of the red Dragon Storm in the quarterfinals, and things snowballed pretty quickly.
All right. Gaining the life in his deck can trigger a lot of times. He's got a fair number of dragons in this bad boy. 4th mana here for Christian Valenti. We're going to play a Dragonback Lancer. That's a 3/3 flyer with Mobilize 1. No attack from the Pack Beast because of the Death Touch over on Baeckstrom's side. All right, here's the Green Dragonstorm. Go find more lands.
I've had the experience of Andrew playing in some limited Grand Prix where I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what the strategy is. I'm not deviating from it. And you have this really weird, almost disassociative experience where every single turn your opponent plays a card and you're like, okay, I would never put that in my deck. Fine. Okay, my turn. It's just, you're just hoping to beat nothing but a sea of cards you would never consider playing yourself.
Wow. Okay, so we've got a Caustic Exile here. It's going to take care of that Dragonback Lancer. We're revealing a Karakit Guardian to make it a little bit cheaper. So we know that's potentially coming down the road here for Baeckstrom.
And when I say disassociative, what I mean by that is you get in this weird spot of, am I not real, or is everyone else in the room not real? Because I have a very different perception of reality than all of my opponents.
If there's nothing wrong with me, there must be something wrong with the universe.
Exactly.
It's a Star Trek quote for you kids out there. Next generation. Dr. Crusher.
Who is one of the better characters.
Oh, yeah. Another reigning victor here for Christian. This time it's coming into the battlefield, giving our Ox indestructible, enabling this attack.
Christian getting 4 damage across here. Andrew again acknowledging a card he would never cast. moving back to his turn. Thumbing some dragons, thumbing some removals.
Yep. Rugged Highlands of Plague going up to 18. Oh, interesting. He just passed back. We know he had that Karakit Guardian in hand.
Well, I also know that he's got that Bewildering Blizzard is in the deck too.
Ah, okay.
So it's possible, from Andrew's perspective, if Christian makes any attacks at all, it's going to be devastating because you -3/-0, this sea of 3 power or smaller creatures, your death touch creature eats something up, you draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
If Christian is not willing to attack out of fear of that card, that's also fine. You just draw 3 cards at the end of the turn.
Right. Let's see what Christian wants to do here. Definitely considering his options. He's kind of talking it out there down at the table.
Christian, for those of you not familiar, is a bit of a chatty Cathy.
Oh, yeah.
So is he talking to himself? Is he talking to Andrew? Is he talking just sort of to the world at large? We do not know.
All of the above?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're really thinking this attack through here, and it looks like reigning victor and the Ox. Screw it. We're going in with the team.
Yep.
4 mobilized tokens. Pretty sick. Here's the block from Baeckstrom on the Ox with the Sultai Devotee. And here, sure enough, is our Bewildering Blizzard shrinking down Christian Valenti's team and drawing Baeckstrom 3 cards.
And it's interesting here. You would assume that Andrew would just take out the 3/3, right? He's still got a death touch creature against the 0/4. I think what Andrew is saying here is what I'm actually worried about is this sort of sequence where Valenti's able to draw some cards. So he's actually putting a premium on cutting off Mobilize rather than getting the quote-unquote best creature off of the battlefield.
Absolutely, because look at this. Christian Valenti plays his Hardened Tactician, draws 2 cards, sacrificing 2 of those tokens. But Andrew has a grip full of cards now, thanks to that Bewildering Blizzard.
Andrew's land stack in what I would describe as a pre-release style. Just one stack, not separated in any way that makes sense. Cards tapped at a 39-degree angle. He is very comfortable right now with what he's doing. You might think the stakes are high, and they are, and Andrew thinks they're high too, but he's been doing this for a few days now.
Yes, yes, indeed. Karakit Guardian here, enabling the pickup of Encroaching Dragonstorm. And we've got another creature to help us find some more lands.
Yeah, and with a dragon, that one goes into hand or battlefield rather than top of deck.
Yes, yes. Supreme value with all of the Dragon Storms if you can put at least 2 to 3 dragons in your deck. Taking a look at the Embermouth Sentinel there. Just a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Christian's got a lot to say down there.
Yeah.
Man, how is he still have so much energy? He played a lot of Magic today and yesterday.
He tends bar. So he's
Oh,
got
he's
this is
when he turns on.
yeah, he's clocking in for work right now. He's just started.
Oh man, he seems like he'd be a great bartender.
Yeah.
I want to go see him.
It also helps, if you have a Southern accent and then leave the South, that's like a cheat code.
Yeah.
I think about that sometimes. Like, what would my career as a broadcaster look like if I had an English accent? It would be over. There would be no other color commentators. I feel
You
like
would win.
sometimes would have won. Southern accent. You go to Vegas, 10 bar.
That's it.
You spin a yarn.
They're throwing money at you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, war effort here. Would have been a lot better if that ox was still hanging around. But as such, still pretty good. We're going to make a couple of immobilized tokens here. Update from our back table. We have a result. Our winner is Jody Keith over Josh Morton, 2-1. So Jody Keith will be one of our finalists here at Spotlight Dragons. Hardened Tactician eating some tokens here for cards. Karakik, Guardian, and the Sultai Devotee jumping in front for blocks. Yum, yum, says Andrew Baeckstrom.
Yeah, Andrew's just kind of like, show me what's going on. I'm at 16. You got a trick, that's fine. Play it.
Oh, nice. Okay, we can get rid of the Karakik Guardian because it dealt damage there with worthy cost by sacrificing one of our tokens. All right, so all clear here once again versus these two here in our semis. All things being equal, I would give the advantage here to Baeckstrom.
Yeah, especially if we're kind of playing top deck to top deck, like whose cards individually have the most lift. Andrew's got to have a big edge there.
Encroaching Dragonstorm here for Andrew Baeckstrom. All right, so he's hitting the card that can let you harmonize from the graveyard. Songcrafter Mage, which is kind of sick.
Yep, so this is another draw 3 coming.
Wow, we're going to flash back this bewildering blizzard. And we hit some good cards. I saw Meringue River Regent there on those draws. In comes the Embermouth Sentinel, Christian Valenti, 18.
Yep.
Pass back.
Andrew with 11 mana, 7 cards in hand, 16 life, and just thinking about some bacon and eggs in a little bit.
Yes, and a pancake on the side.
Definitely.
All right, sure. Windcraig Siege, the play here for Christian.
So that notably doesn't trigger until next turn, at which point maybe it will do something with the war games here.
Okay. I chose Jeskai, by the way, the mode that gives you a 1/1 lifelinking goblin. Molten Exhale is going to deal with the dragon from Christian Valenti there. So Baeckstrom here, ball is clearly in his court. He's got the only creatures on the battlefield, and they are swinging in. Valenti, 13. I love Andrew's face right there. He's like, yeah, all my options are good. I don't know what to play.
Yeah, backwards Eagles hat lands as sloppy as imaginable.
He has two. He has 2 Encroaching Dragonstorms and 2 Karakik Guardians, because there's another hit off of that one, and there's a Meringue River Regent. We're going to bounce those 2 enchantments back to your hand, my friend.
No, you're getting the Snapcaster back.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, get the Snapcaster back. And there is the handshake. That was just too much for Christian Valenti to handle.